Today's headlines.
Welcome to COVID, Vaccine Truth News. Today, we're going to expose the Pfizer clinical trial data. For those who may not be familiar, Pfizer's initial clinical trial involved a substantial cohort of 44,165 participants, evenly divided between those who received the vaccine and those assigned to the placebo group. One perplexing aspect of Pfizer's trial pertains to the recorded mortality figures. Officially, the data indicates 21 deaths within the vaccinated group and 17 deaths within the unvaccinated group. This means that there is a staggering 23.5% more deaths in the vaccinated compared to their unvaccinated counterparts. Adding to the intrigue, Pfizer seemed to employ some linguistic gymnastics when touting the effectiveness of their COVID vaccine as 100%, a subject that Robert F. Kennedy eloquently discussed here.
Very simple for people to understand. They gave 22,000 vaccines approximately to people in the vaccine group, and then there were 22,000 people in the placebo group who received a fake vaccine. After 6 months, there was one COVID death in the vaccine group and 2 COVID deaths in the placebo group. So that allowed Pfizer and FDA to tell the public that the vaccine is 100% effective, which they did. Dr. Fauci and everybody else said that from the beginning. Gates, the president, it's 100% effective because the number 2 is 100% greater than the number 1. So that was a deception in itself, because when most Americans, when they heard it's 100% effective, what they think is, if I get the vaccine, there's 100% that I will not get sick. I will not get really sick and I will not die. But what it actually means is that in order to prevent one COVID death, they have to give 22,000 vaccinations. And what that means is, if you're going to give 22,000 vaccinations to prevent one COVID death, you better make sure that that vaccine is not killing anybody from other causes. And there's a graph that summarizes all-cause mortality. So how many people died in the vaccine group during that 6-month period, and how many people died in the placebo group. And in the vaccine group, 21 people died over 6 months of the 22,000 of all causes. And in the placebo group, only 17 died. That means if you want to do, if you want to follow their protocols and their estimates, if you take the vaccine, you're 21% more likely to die over 6 months than people who don't, of all causes. You're half as likely to die from COVID, but you're 21% more likely to die from some other cause. And if you want to look closer and say, well, what was killing all these extra people? It was cardiac arrest.
A preprint paper has emerged yesterday, September 4th, 2023, titled Forensic Analysis of the 38 Subject Deaths in the 6-month interim report of the Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA vaccine clinical trial. This paper isn't holding back. It's scrutinizing Pfizer's behind-the-scenes procedures and revealing some rather questionable practices during Pfizer's initial vaccine trials. To kick things off, let's turn our attention to the unvaccinated subjects. Below, you'll find a table detailing the 17 deaths that occurred within the unvaccinated group. Upon closer examination, subject #14 had originally been part of the unvaccinated group, receiving placebo doses 1 and 2 on September 30th and October 21st, 2020, respectively. However, a significant twist occurred on December 23rd, 2020, when this subject received dose 1 of the Moderna mRNA vaccine. The plot thickens as the story unfolds. On December the 31st, 2020, the subject was admitted to the hospital, where a turbulent medical journey ensued. Oxygen levels dropped significantly, leading to intubation on January 2nd, 2021. In a desperate bid for recovery, monoclonal antibodies were administered as part of the hospital's treatment regimen. Despite these Herculean efforts, the subject's health continued to deteriorate, eventually succumbing to multi-system organ failure on January 11, 2021. The subject's death was eventually classified as an unvaccinated death due to COVID-19. Let's explore another case. Below, you'll find a table that outlines the details of the 21 deaths recorded within the vaccinated group. Take Subject 8, a 53-year-old Native American male with a history of COPD and a prior episode of stress-related myocardial infarction, passed away unexpectedly on December 4, 2020, less than 2 months after receiving dose 2 of the Pfizer vaccine. Following the subject's demise on December 18th, the trial site's medical monitor initially recorded the cause of death as cardiopulmonary arrest related to myocardial infarction. However, a day later, on December 19th, Pfizer communicated to the trial site that only one cause of death could be entered into the case report form and requested the removal of related to myocardial infarction. The medical monitor resisted this modification. On January 5, 2021, Pfizer took a unilateral decision to change the cause of death to cardiopulmonary arrest and opted not to include myocardial infarction as a secondary cause of death. These are just a few instances that prompted the authors of this study to reach a conclusion. There were some substantial problems with many of the death cases. It's almost as if crucial pieces of the puzzle were mysteriously absent. Furthermore, vital information regarding the subject's medical history before the trial seemed to have vanished into thin air. Most importantly, the authors also found evidence of over a 3.7-fold increase in cardiovascular-related deaths among the vaccinated subjects compared to the unvaccinated placebo group, which was not reported by Pfizer. The revelations uncovered within Pfizer's vaccine trials underscore the urgency of a comprehensive inquiry by relevant authorities. The public rightfully deserves an honest, unaltered assessment of the vaccine's safety and efficacy, devoid of any manipulation or evasion of critical data. Transparency isn't merely a catchphrase, it stands as the bedrock of trust in our healthcare systems. Please remember to subscribe to this channel for more transparent COVID vaccine truth news. Signing off for now.